Welcome to this webinar regarding donation. Let me see here. Okay, we have a really exciting agenda for you. Today you will meet Håvard. He's the product manager for our market-facing products, and he will talk a lot about the new donation products. And his partner in crime, Øyvind, will cover the technical part. Annie will talk about the possibility for partnership and different partner models in Vipps MobilePay. You will also meet online fundraising. That's Stefan, and he's a really good and valuable partner for us. In the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A. And here you will have the pleasure to meet another good partner of us called Communion, and that's Jonathan, and he will also share some insight with us as well. The webinar will be recorded and shared with you afterwards, and we love feedback, ideas, and questions from you. So join the conversation. You can see a box on the right side of the screen. And now, Håvard, I think you could just take it away.
Thank you, Vanya. So if you change the slide, it's... my name is Håvard Melby. I'm the product manager for the donations products by Vipps MobilePay. I have met some of you before, and I will go through the journey of a bit how we work and why we are where we are today. So, Vanya, if you can switch the slide. The first thing that we work with in Vipps MobilePay is what problems to solve. So we spent quite a lot of time going to different countries, talking to different fundraisers, users, and hearing the problems they had with our current solutions. So feedback we've received, which were the core feedback, was it's too much manual work with the reports after we've done a campaign or anything. Also in Norway and Denmark, we are by law obligated to give tax deductions if users request it, but don't have the information we need. So Vipps MobilePay is not giving the information. I need to know how much have been collected by a person or a group. That is a core question regarding when you run campaigning. And the cost to get user data after a campaign or after a donation is very high. So very often companies are using a third-party vendor in order to validate or value increase the data. What I'm talking about here is the use of what we call the Vipps MobilePay number. So what we looked at was to take the Vipps MobilePay number and really see how can we solve these problems as fast as possible. So Anya, if you can switch the slide. What we did with the Vipps MobilePay number was that we first had to identify which numbers are used in a donations situation. So which MobilePay numbers are used for this. Why? Because doing that, we could give the merchant the responsibility of the data, or become the data controller, as we would say in a legal term. The second was that we saw that most single donations was used to do an upsell to a recurring donation. So we made a product based on our own recurring payments. And by doing that, we could get API keys. Now we could actually take these two products together and we could make an API sharing data. Also, we were allowed by our legal department then, based on PSD2 rules, to share the full phone number, not where we masked off 4 digits in the phone number, hence giving it much more clarity and the probability of matching data within the CRM system. Our learning from this first iteration is that, yes, we are making it easier. Are we making it easy? No, but easier than it used to be. So now we are looking into our second iteration based on feedback again. So the feedback is definitely for the CRM systems that they're getting a lot of push from their merchants to do integrations where they would have to invest money into getting this API to work. It's also a problem which API key to use. It's a problem that you have to order a second product even though you might not use it even just to get an API key. So if you switch now, Vanya, what we have then looked into is the new product that we call, well, donation. So the donation product is based on what we in Vipps MobilePay call the alias. The alias is the number that you can search in the app for your Vipps MobilePay number. We will be using the number, continue to do that. And when you order this product as a donations product, you will get the functionality also of having the ability to use this number as a single donation, as a recurring donation, or if you would like to, a combination of the two. We are testing this with some merchants today. As an example, the Barnekreftforeningen, so the Children Cancer Association in Norway, we are testing with them. When testing with them, you can search it up, or you can search a number or the name. So this is just a fictive company, but you can actually see it live with 2323 for the Children Cancer Association in Norway. When you search this or scan the QR, you will arrive on a page where the user that are now in the mode of donating choose between giving a single donation or a recurring donation. And based on what they choose, they get a new way of paying it, or donating it, as we say. The next part that we're going to solve in the first iteration is that the MobilePay number today has, once you have donated, a page where you get these emojis. So it's payment proof page. We don't need that. What we want to do is to say thank you for your donation. This is why we've had to kind of write ourselves out of Vipps MobilePay number, because now it will also have a thank you page once a donation has been given. This product is a iterative approach. So we are now going to launch the first iteration within a month, hopefully. And then we will iterate on it. So we will listen to feedback and we will continue to build the product to solve problems. As an example, the thank you page will be in the beginning just a static page where one thank you message is there. We have received feedback already to iterate on it, to give the different fundraisers the ability to change it, to write their own messages. That's an option to do. But before we start doing this, we need to fulfill the entire value chain. And one value chain that we have not looked into previously are the CRM systems. So how do we work with CRM systems? Based on this one, some of the merchants will continue to be in the kind of Vipps MobilePay portal administering this themselves. But we will also be giving the data through an API with API keys, and we will work with our CRM systems. So Øyvind will now explain further into kind of what the CRM contains and how it works and how you can integrate towards it. Welcome, Øyvind Andersen.
Thank you, Håvard. Yeah, so I'm Øyvind Andersen, the technical lead for the donations team. So I'll briefly explain kind of what we have done and are thinking about doing with the donations API. So this is in addition to the portal. It's to kind of make it much easier for when you have higher volume or you want to do an integration with the API. So this is designed for the CRM systems. So it will provide access to full name and phone number so that, as Håvard said, can identify the donors for fulfilling the PSD2 compliance requirements. We have also simplified the way of getting data across sales units. So this will give you access to transaction data from all sales units within the same organization, as long as it's related to donations. So you don't need API key for every sales unit. One key is needed only. Going forward, we are looking into supporting the tax deduction and also user services features. So you will then get different endpoints for information regarding the tax deduction reporting. And also going forward, if your customer support would like to kind of request changes on the amount, for example, on a recurring agreement and so on, then we are looking into building that you can request on behalf of the merchant, or kind of the system integration will then enable the end user to verify in the app that, yes, I would like to confirm that I want to change the amount, for example. So managing the recurring donation agreement through the API as an integration with the CRM system. So the idea here is to complement and not a replacement for the report API that a lot of you are using today. So it is extending the functionality for tailored to CRM and fundraising needs. So that would be tracking and campaign management, etc. And also in the future, we are looking into simplifying the integration by using the partner keys as some of you are using today. So that you can also then use the same keys with this API instead of having we call it today kind of a merchant API key, but we are looking into then if we can utilize the same functionality with the partner keys. So more information will be added to the link below here, where you kind of can read more about the API and also the technical specification regarding the API.
Really nice, Øyvind. And now, Annie, it's your turn to take it away. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, and hopefully you can hear me. So
Yes.
hello, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Anni Vuori, and I'm working as a partner manager at Vipps MobilePay, and I'm located in Helsinki in Finland. You can click the next one. So as we are a Nordic company, we operate in Finland, Norway, Denmark, and nowadays also in Sweden. And in total, we have nowadays more than 12 million users. We have 530,000 shops where you can pay with Vipps MobilePay, and we have 1.4 billion transactions per year. And as a Nordic company, we basically have one API platform, and by integrating to our API platform, you can also operate in all our countries with the same integration. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit more what we have for our partners. You can click the next one. So the goal of the partner program is to build close cooperation, drive mutual growth, and create even better solutions for our customers. And our partnership provides visibility and valuable opportunities within the Vipps MobilePay ecosystem. And we think that leveling up gives your business more opportunities, improved collaboration, special advantages, and the more you invest, the more you get back. You can click the next one. And the next, yes. Thank you. So in more details, we have Nordic Partner Program, which is basically divided into 3 levels or tiers. And these tiers are Vipps MobilePay Partner, Partner Plus, and Partner Premium. And on the partner, kind of like the basic partner level, the annual Vipps MobilePay revenue is less than 15 million NOK, 10 million DKK, or less than 1 million euros. And the number of active merchants on the partner level is less than 30. And on the plus level, the annual revenue is at least 15 million NOK, and the number of active merchants is at least 30. And on the premium level, the annual revenue is at least 80 million NOK, and the number of active merchants is at least 60. You can click the next one. Just highlighting a couple of things we have in the different levels for the partner program. So on the basic level, the partners are mainly using the standard pricing which we have, and these basic or partners are more or less self-serviced partners. And on the Partner Plus level, these partners have local dedicated partner manager, and these partners can set the price according to the agreement which we have signed with the partner. And also there is opportunity for revenue share with this level, and also, for example, marketing cooperation is possible. And on the premium level, there is of course the same things which we have on the plus level, but also these premium partners, they can have priority onboarding of their merchants. And for example, if we want to set up together a webinar, a customer event, or customer workshop, that is possible to do. And also we help with fixing the API errors. You can click one more time. If you want to read more, visit our website. There is a lot of more insight. And just to inform you, so far we haven't had any commission model with the partners for the donations products, but this is something that we are now considering. So we would love to hear your feedback and thoughts regarding the partner model and or how you think about having a commission model for the donations products. So feel free to send us email to partner@vipsmobilepay.com and let's set up a meeting. I think that's all from my side.
Really, really, really nice. And now, Stefan, we are so happy that you will join us today. And you want to take over control?
Yes. All right.
Perfect. Perfect.
So the camera just jumped here. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Just a quick summary about what online fundraising is. So online fundraising is now is a 10-year-old subscription management system for charities, and we kind of take the role of centralizing the payment logic, and of course this is what we are talking about today as well, some of the payment logic and data that comes from donations, and then making it easily accessible for CRM systems like you guys here today. So here is just a list of some of the CRM systems that have an integration to our system. And last year or this year, we'll be helping 260 organizations and going through a bit of a high mark for ourselves, collecting 1.5 billion Danish kroner across the Nordic countries, primarily in Denmark and Iceland, through MobilePay as a big payment provider, but also direct debit card and SMS payments. And we partner closely with MobilePay because they have a suite of solution, which is kind of the premise today that this suite is expanding. But it has also, because it is have become essential for charities to have a payment method like MobilePay. So for us, having this partnership with MobilePay is very important, and we do our best to be a positive partner that also comes with some of the questions that needs to be asked, and I think this is also, this kind of dialogue today is a proof that MobilePay is indeed someone who wants to have partners and have a good conversation about how to do good with the organizations. So based on who we are, then I just wanted to kind of like recap what I would say from my perspective here in Denmark, what charities kind of need to succeed in their doing. And one of them is they need payment solutions that are preferred by donors, that has a high conversion rate. And we have been trying several times to do some fancy work ourselves to try to tell donors that this is a good way to donate, but we quite quickly found out that it's very difficult to change the behavior of people. So what we should do is make sure that the charities can provide the payment solution that the donor themselves prefer. And MobilePay and Vipps has certainly become a third payment method for many, if not for all, then at least a lot of people. So this is something that's very needed, and MobilePay is doing that part. And then, of course, the charities, they need some way to build the donor base for and they do that by getting data and consent to talk further with people, which is, of course, why we're talking about today. We're having this data go to the CRM system, because if they don't have the data, they can't provide that excellent donor service and have some good campaigns on top of it. So, of course, this is not news for anyone, but just having that basic understanding when we talk about how to go to a new product suite for MobilePay, we need some way to make sure that this data ends smoothly in the CRM system. It's kind of the way donations is a campaign is working in the Nordic, I would say, is you need to have proper data in a good CRM system. And of course, that's why it's brilliant that there are so many good CRM systems out there, like you guys here today, so the organization can get the one that fits them. But of course, the problem is that the charities need to get all this, and they need to get it hassle-free, because they don't have infinite time, and they definitely don't have infinite money. But they do have a lot of need that they're trying to serve. So they need to get this up and running without having too much manual work, or without having to pay for a large IT projects. So I think this is kind of like also me saying, to have this set up, we basically simply need to do the work for the charities for them to succeed, because they need to have this data in the same systems without having too many exports and Excel works and all that good stuff before importing. MobilePay has already, of course, pitched the donation product themselves, and you have probably also seen that they are doing that pitch quite highly at the moment in the markets, and I understand why. But this is me trying from my own perspective, saying, why should we care for this new donation product? Like, why can't we just use the ones we already had, right? And I think what we need to also see as an important step here is that this is suddenly it's a development that is dedicated for the charities. Of course, the e-com or the recurring payments, I would say, has served us very well. Like we have a lot of payments going through in Denmark through the recurring payments, for instance. But there are bits and pieces that could be better if it was directly focused on charities. So this is kind of it's a big thing, I would say, that we get this dedicated development for charities. And maybe even more so is that I can already see that this team is very much open for constructive feedback that is sector specific, which is, yes, I would say more important. And Howard is especially the champion, I would say, for this. You are very good at opening up and listening and understanding the different needs. And of course, it's a hassle. We all know that as technical companies, that you cannot take in all feedback. You cannot do everything at once, even though you want to. But having a team that's actually open for constructive feedback is also really important. And of course, as always been mentioned, having more data, meaning more leads, is essential. Like just the fact that the single payments, number of payments now have the full phone number is worth all the hassle that comes from having a broader suite. This is so important. I think we cannot underestimate the importance that this is having at the moment and will continue to have. Also making some dents in the SMS business that I'm also in, but that's just having to be focused on what's good for the charities, right? And then, of course, there is a growing, I would say, toolbox of conversion enhancement. And this is just, again, me being from my own perspective here. There's a lot of good things happening. I think the real conversion enhancements, the ones that will actually really move us forward, is just beginning to materialize. But this is the natural end goal of having a dedicated development that's open for feedback. Like this toolbox will continue to grow. So which also means that it will become even more important for the charities going forward. And then from a more practical perspective, maybe, there are already payments coming through this product, and that there's already data. So this means that we are, in a sense, or you could be already a bit late. Like the organizations are now living in a world where there is a donation product, there is a recurring donation product, and they are figuring out how to make the day-to-day needs done, and that requires more manual work again, and more conceptual thinking about what kind of data comes from this or that place. So they need our help, and I think it's just from that very pragmatic point of view. I don't think as a CRM system this is something you can actually ignore. There is a very much a case for saying that we need the data that comes through these new products to end in the CRM systems one way or the other. So yeah, so the suite now has grown, and this is just, of course, when you look through the Vipps MobilePay lens, you have the single payments. You might have done the integration yourself. You might have done it through a PSP. And there's the recurring payments. And if you're from Denmark or Finland, you have already done that twice because you had the MobilePay engine yourself beforehand. And now we have the Vipps MobilePay instead. And of course, we have the number or the report API, maybe in this regard. And now we have the single donations and the recurring donations as a new product. So of course, from an integration perspective, this is just, to be honest, this is not a good thing. This is more hassle. It would have been, of course, much easier for us doing integrations if these new developments were done through APIs that were already provided. As you've probably already heard, there are some good internal reasons from MobilePay to do it like this. It has carved out sort of an island for them to do good charity-related things without having to wait for the rest of the the business to agree of doing this and that. So I think this is just the cost of having that extra focus on the charities, that we need to accept that this puts more hassle on us. There's no way around saying that. It is not a shortcut, it's a workaround, but it will provide the benefits that I've been talking about here. And of course, being what I am, we are not a CRM system. What we do is we try to reduce this type of integration load. So just to give you a brief look on our own system, is that we do the integrations ourselves to all the webs, which are the blue boxes here. Of course, the old products, you would say, but also the new donations product. We're very much looking forward to having more APIs actually for the recurring donations, so we can also do some service to the donations, like changing the amount and all those things. But what we kind of offer is, and we have already done for the CRM systems you saw in the beginning of my presentation, is that we can take that kind of hassle away. If you as a CRM system want to focus on being a CRM system, making sense of the data, we can provide a single point of entry to the payment market, doing the integrations already. We have done that for the MobilePay. And of course, there was also other payment methods where we don't have to dive a lot into those in a meeting like this. But of course, MobilePay is not in a total position of domination, but I think also from a charity perspective, everyone is has a benefit of having what the donor prefers. So that means having more than one payment method, I would say. So again, we can kind of simplify that. And if you want to talk more about that, of course, you're more than welcome to reach out. But also, if you just want to talk about having the specific integration done, we can also have a chat. So this is kind of like my pitch for doing the work. You should, I think, take it seriously that there's now a new kid on the block. The donation part of MobilePay is here to stay, and it will only become a stronger part of the suite going forward. So this is us, and this is me. So if you want to reach out, you're more than welcome. And I think that's it for me now. So handing over to you guys again.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Now, Håvard, it's your turn. Take it away again.
Thank you. Thank you, Stefan. That was amazing feedback. Get a bit moved here. But let's go to the next person. So, Communion, Jonathan Bigler. We have had 1.5 years, I think it is, since our first kind of meeting about this donation product.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you some questions regarding kind of how you feel this. So how do you, Jonathan, or Communion, see the new Vipps MobilePay donation solution fitting into your business and your current product offering?
Thank you. Hi, nice to be with you, everyone, this morning. And thanks for the good question, Håvard. Yeah, so how do we see this new donation fit into our offering? So our offering is a CRM for fundraising. You might know it as Cornerstone or as Servly if you are outside of Norway. And for us, it feels like a very natural fit. And the reason is that being a fundraising CRM, Vipps moving towards a fundraising product is, well, it feels very natural, and we'll go more in details why. But what I think is really interesting about this question is that moving from Vipps number transaction, which is basically a payment, into performing a donation, which has some business logic implied here, both about thank yous and consents and things we will get back to, and personal information. This is a very, very interesting development. So I believe it is addressing several pain points which our clients have expressed throughout the years, mostly using VIP's number. So this is why we're quite excited about this new product coming out. The other reason why this is a very natural fit for us is that automation is maybe the biggest thing you expect from a CRM, or one of the biggest things, together with maybe reporting and analytics. So being able to provide more automation compared to the previous VIP's number approach, both in the way the gifts are registered and processed and categorized as well, with these new aliases you were mentioning earlier. This is also very, very interesting and in line with the kind of value we want to provide to our customers. So what we want ideally is to provide orthogonality when it comes to payment methods. So the organization shouldn't have to think too much about, oh, this was VIP's ACOM, or this was VIP's number, or this was card, or this was Aftalogy or Autogiro. They should be able to focus on what they're doing, which is fundraising, communication, engagement. And I feel like the new donation product is a step forward in this orthogonality, because the past few years we've had to do a lot of education about what's the difference between number and ACOM, and when should you use this one or that one. And I feel like the gap is maybe not entirely closed, but it's definitely going in the right direction, and quite a few steps in the right direction already with this upcoming release.
And I hope by us working together, identifying new problems, we will be able to close the gap further iteratively.
Entirely.
Yeah, and in the end, entirely, that's our goal. But I'm hoping so. At least I will listen. That's the one thing I can promise. But Jonathan, from your perspective, what value do you see VIP's MobilePay donations, the product donation, bring to your customers? And why have you decided to go ahead with the integration?
So if we look at more in details, there are multiple layers to this question, multiple advantages we can identify. So one of the significant advantage, I believe, is onboarding recurring donors via the app directly. And I think Stefan mentioned it earlier, old habits die hard. So we've had examples when we released recurring with ACOM, for example, in the church context. In order to automate, and deal with the whole tax reporting issues a few years ago, we introduced an ACOM solution with a QR so that people could just scan, give, and it would all be registered in the CRM. But what we noticed is that a lot of donors kept on giving with the VIP's number, even though there was a QR alternative, which was more automated. So eventually one of our clients said, well, if you want tax deduction, you have to use the QR. And even then, some people kept on donating with the number. So yes, old habits die hard. But it's not just about a number versus QR questions. There are specific contexts where QR is just not possible. Radio sendings, for example. Or if you are in, I don't know, events and you have a presentation and it's on big screen and maybe the QR is inconvenient because you have people in front of you, or so they're being able to communicate a number vocally is also a brand new opportunity we didn't have before. So this is interesting. It's much safer in terms of person identification. So being able to be sure that the person giving this gift is that person I may know from before in my CRM is a very major bonus from the previous VIP's number solutions. And reducing the time from donation to registration is quite important, because we have some clients that used to download VIP's number every month. Some did it every week, but some did it even every day, depending on how close they wanted to be with their donor journey to the payment. So now we can reduce this monthly, weekly, daily to seconds. And that opens for a much more responsive donor experience. When sending a DM, so a letter in the post with an appeal to give, this is also something we experience with our clients. Like we had this whole QR solution, full automated, and we were like, put the QR on your DM so people can easily give as an alternative to the Giro. But time and time again, organizations would just put the VIPS number and have to do all the manual processing. And so even though the technology was in place, all the habits die hard is not only about the donor, but it's even about the organizations themselves. So now we are going towards a solution where we can remove these questions and remove the needs to educate. And if you want to put a QR or a number or both, that will be up to you. But you will basically be able to reap the same benefits. Yes, I think those are the main points I have noted. Yeah. I think there are a few others that are worth noting. I mean, you've been mentioning tax deduction. I had a look at the API, and we're going to have a talk this afternoon about this. So as I understand it, that might not quite be in the very first iteration coming out, but this, unless I'm saying something wrong now, correct me if I'm wrong. But that might be something that comes a little bit later down the road. But it would obviously be a significant bonus being able to provide that as well already from the first donation.
I can inform you there that we do have a workshop in Norway today.
Yeah.
To look at how to solve tax deduction, understand the details of it, and what can VIPS MobilePay, what should our role be? And we have the same workshop in Denmark, the 23rd of September. And we are hoping that we can solve it for tax deduction 2025, because we do have the data. But let's see what the outcome of the workshops will be before I can go into details.
But all in all, I feel like for the organizations, it will feel like VIPS is VIPS. I think we've been discussing this before also with Maria, that ECOM, number, those are words which make sense for us in the context. But yeah, if you're a fundraising organization, why should you have to, or you don't know about these things, so you have to learn, and it's a hassle. But I feel like the whole experience will be much more integrated. The way I see it so far, I see donations as an excellent replacement for numbers. I don't really see any reasons why you should use VIPS number for donations, where if you have the donation product. When it comes to ACOM, I still see some use cases where the ACOM API and will still be relevant for donations, especially if you're coming from a digital source, you're already online, you have a digital experience, and ACOM might be a more suitable way to just process the payment if you have an entire digital process around it. So those two, as I see, will complement each other. But again, I don't think we'll have to do as much education, and it will be smoother for the organization to work with these new tools.
Thank you. So at the end, do you have any specific feedback or thoughts that you believe are essential for us to consider to ensure success of the donation solution?
Yes. A couple of question tips, things that looking through the API and the presentation today weren't clear for me. It would be interesting if you could reply with yes, no, maybe, or already on the roadmap, but not quite right now, or definitely not to some of these questions. The first one is the API, as I saw it right now, it gives us payments with quite a bit of information about each transactions. As I saw it, it doesn't give us the agreement, but it gives us an agreement ID. and having an agreement ID and an amount, and I'm assuming they're all monthlies, we basically have an agreement. But the ability to stop or change the agreement from the CRM or from my page for the donor service, we've been discussing that a little bit earlier together. Is that something you think is a yes, a no, a maybe already on the roadmap? How do you see it?
Depending on feedback, it's a yes so far. We still have to validate with users and everything. We have to be kind of the in between the users and the organizations.
Yeah.
I would say a yes on the roadmap.
Just to clarify for people following here, but if somebody calls your donor service and says, hey, I want to stop to give, or they send an email, with the previous donations product, it was so that the donor service had to say, sorry, I cannot stop it. You have to go yourself in the app and find the agreement and stop it. And similarly for the change of amount, if somebody calls and say, hey, I would like to reduce or increase, or there are different ways organizations deal with that. But it not being available through API means the donor has to do all the work themselves. So, and that means more education, because that means we have to train the donor service that, oh, there are recurring agreements that are ACOM, you have full control, and there are recurring agreements that are donations, you don't. So this is one of the frictions I hope we'll be able to erase over time, so that for the donor service, it's just a VIPS agreement. It doesn't matter if it's onboarded in the app or on ACOM and a web page. This is a small question, but the transaction fee, I know it's available through the report API, but I've been curious if that's a quick win to add it as well in your current API, so that we can also automatize transferring that information to the accounting software, so that if you are a fundraising organization and the only API you have is your CRM towards VIPs and you only get donations, you could just register the entire transaction in the accounting through the integration. Is that something?
So this is a larger discussion on how do VIPs MobilePay build technology, right? So there are several ways of doing this. So one thing is taking one API and have all information in one file. And then this file contains all information needed to do everything. The problem with doing that is that the second you start asking, okay, I want to use this for statistics, then the API has, when you solve accounting, it has to be 100% perfect.
Yeah.
The data has to always be perfect.
Correct.
That means that you don't get it to be fast. I think we need to discuss how to do the architecture of this. I think it's more important to solve the API keys, because having several APIs shouldn't be a problem, but having the same key reading the different ones. But I would personally, I would like each API to solve specific problems, like in accounting API that solves accounting perfectly. CRM API, it's an API that solves what data you need to do CRM, right?
Yeah.
And then a statistics API where you can pull it every second if you want to and see how much has been collected. And so I think this is, will we solve the problems? Yes, definitely. How we solve them, that's still up for discussion.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we need to have a good communication with our partners.
To me, this is definitely not a big issue, because like you said, there is the reporting API. This is actually an accounting discussion. So it's more of a shortcut for organizations that might not have the ability to solve it within their accounting software for some reason.
But I think we need to look at that. But yes, Melania.
Sorry for interrupting, but I think we need to go in for landing now, because we are actually 6 minutes over time. And so sorry for that. This was really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you, Jonathan, for really
Yeah.
good answers and good discussions.
Well, the last point we won't get to address today, which is the big one, is managing consent. I think if that is done right, that will really increase the whole user experience. But that is a fairly complex question.
But here, as you know, yes, we really want to look into this, how to do it. To be honest, we have no clue today. There are so many different things.
It's a complex one. Thank you for the chat.
Yeah, really, really interesting. And thank you so much for showing up. I hope that the rest of the team have given you the response on the questions, feedback during this session. We will also share that, of course. But have a fantastic week and thank you. Bye-bye.